Okay, everybody, let's rise in body and or spirit for our gathering hymn 1003, Where Do We Come From? Woo! We're going to sing it once, only once. It will not be hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can we have some sound here, please? Hello? Anyway, 103, not doing it as a round, and once through. Good morning. I am Reverend J. Wolin, the settled minister here at the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. Thank you all for being here today. I don't believe we have live stream, but we are recording it. So when you see this later on YouTube, hello as well. So if there are any visitors here, I want to particularly as well welcome you and encourage you to get to know more about us by signing up in our virtual guest book if you are online, or right outside the door here we have a book that you can sign, and if you do, you will get an email from us once a week telling you about all the events that are going on, and there are many, although there also will tell you when we cancel events due to a storm. So also a good reason why to be signed up. We do try to get information on the website as quickly as possible, but sometimes it doesn't always happen. Normally, I don't know if we're planning, I know there's not going to be a potluck today as we normally do. I don't know even if we're going to have coffee or desserts today, but yes, okay, all right. I'm excited already now. So please join us for that. Of course, obviously, a smaller crowd. The storm has impacted so many. But still, I felt it was really important that we gather today for those who could and needed it to come together in community after what I will just call a traumatic event, this storm. Really, the last couple of storms and the rain before that. And so let's come together today. I want to particularly thank a number of people I know of, and there may be many more, but Brett Duval, Paul Scholl, I know Connie, Larry, Ed Loomis have been here the last couple of days clearing off the grounds to make it safe for us to be here today. And so, yeah, please give them a round of applause. And I also want to thank Klaus and Terry-Ann for coming back early and making sure that we had audio and visual for today, and they were here, I know, yesterday, testing and setting things up. So and Doug as well, let's give them all a round of applause. We have one more announcement today, a small but great announcement from BidFest. Terry.
Wow, let's see. Hope you can hear me. Good morning. I'm Terry Holsinger. I'm the chair of the BidFest team. So happy to see those of you who could make it. I'm so happy to see you, and especially out in YouTube land eventually. Hope your Milton experiences are getting better every day. If you're still without power and need a spare bedroom, we have one. So call me if you need one. If you came to hear the BidFest comedy team of Whaley and Rubin, sorry, you're on the wrong Sunday. I'm not a comedian. Don't we have a fantastic team? Ava Whaley, Scott Rubin, Vicki Carey, Heather and Ethan Massa, Catherine Bonner, and the whole UU family. We have 5 weeks until BidFest. I counted it up last night. I thought, wow, that's too soon. Saturday, November 16th. I want to remind you all of what you're going to get for your $10 ticket, which, by the way, you can get online at bidfest.org right now. You're going to get appetizers, the fantastic appetizers that Ethan and Heather made last year, the luncheon, plus unlimited bidding on both online fixed price items and our traditional silent auction. And don't forget our master auctioneer, Ethan Massa, doing his thing during dessert. So all of that for $10. It's a fun day. We need you to volunteer, to donate, add to the wish list, and to buy tickets, all online, right now, bidfest.org. You can also browse previous catalogs on the website. Last year's donors will receive an email from bidfestteam@gmail.com, and we're going to let you know what your last year's donation was and the dollars you raised last year. And look in your junk and spam folders, because I'm finding email in there, even from Ava, which I've been communicating with for years, in my junk mail. So look in your junk mail always. And you can just reply if you'd like to donate that same item, and we can easily move it from last year to this year. Visit us in the courtyard to volunteer or donate right after the service. And don't forget, when is the auction? Saturday. Yay! You can read well. We look forward to seeing you in the courtyard. Thank you so much.
Always a fun event, always. So our opening words are something I wrote yesterday called "We Need Each Other." As we dry off, dust off, wake up after nights of worry, a night of fury, and now days and nights of recovery, may our time together today give meaning and purpose to our days, give comfort to our trials, and light the way forward, even if ever so slowly, into an unknown future. As we light the chalice, let it be a reminder to us that we need each other to find our way forward. So please join Titan as we light our chalice and we share our value of interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility we acknowledge our place in it.
So good morning. Just another short announcement that, yes, we are holding a drop-in chalice group today, and we're going to start a little bit earlier. We'll start at noon today in the library. If you would like to be participating in that, just come on in. Anyway, today's story is Who is My Neighbor?, written by Anne Jill Levine and Sandy Eisenberg Sasso, and illustrated by Denise Turro. Once there was a town where only blues lived. There was navy and indigo, aqua and sapphire, powder blue and midnight blue. They planted irises and forget-me-nots and feasted on blueberries and blue cheese. They sailed on blue waters. The blues thought they were the coolest colors. The yellows lived in a different town. There was gold and bronze and lemon and mustard, canary and pale yellow. They planted sunflowers and daffodils and feasted on bananas and butterscotch pudding. They traveled on yellow brick roads. The yellows thought they were the hottest colors. The blues and the yellows did not like one another very much. Oh, be careful of the yellows. We are better than they are. They are not our neighbors. The yellows, they warned their children not to go near the others. Be careful of the blues. We are better than they are. They are not our neighbors. For years, the blues said there was no such good thing as a good yellow, and the yellows said there was no such thing as a good blue. So one day, Midnight Blue put on his blue helmet, got on his blue bike, and cruised under the bright blue sky, singing a bluegrass tune. Then, out of the blue, someone passed by so close that he lost his balance. Bump! Thump! Midnight Blue tumbled to the ground. His knees started to turn black and... Thank you. Along came Navy. Navy will help me, Midnight Blue thought. But Navy was afraid. She wondered, maybe somebody made Midnight Blue fall, and maybe that somebody is still around. So Navy pretended not to notice Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue was surprised. Why hadn't Navy stopped to help? Navy was his neighbor. Along came Powder Blue. Oh, Powder Blue will help me. But Powder Blue wondered, did Midnight Blue get into a fight? Is that other person still around? He was afraid, so he too pretended not to notice Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue was surprised. Why hadn't they stopped? They were his neighbors. Along came Lemon. Oh no, a yellow, thought Midnight Blue. A yellow will only make things worse. Maybe this yellow will steal my books. But Midnight Blue was not the only one who was scared. Lemon worried about helping a blue. What if that blue wanted to trick her? What if that blue jumped up and took her bike? Maybe she should just hurry by. But Lemon didn't hurry by. She decided to help. She didn't steal his books. She picked them up. She helped Midnight Blue get on the back of her bike, and she took him to her doctor. And while they waited, Lemon gave Midnight Blue a butterscotch cookie. It was broken, but still delicious. And Midnight Blue said, "You know, you're a good yellow, not like the others." "Most yellows are good," Lemon said. "Well, so are blues," Midnight Blue said, and he smiled. He pulled out a small bag of blueberries and gave some to Lemon. They were a little squished, but still yummy. When Dr. Gold came out, Midnight Blue was still a bit frightened of yellows, but Dr. Gold smiled at him, checked to make sure nothing was broken, and put a bandage on each knee. Good as gold. Midnight Blue turned to Lemon and said, "Thank you for helping me. I would like to be your friend." Lemon nodded. "Of course, a good friend." So when Midnight Blue returned to his town, he told the Blues what had happened. He said Lemon did not pass by or look the other way. Lemon helped, and Dr. Gold did too. The Blues thought, the yellows don't look like us or eat the same foods, but maybe the yellows can be our friends. When Lemon returned to her town, she told all the yellows what had happened, and she said, Midnight Blue wasn't mean at all. He was thankful. He shared his blueberries, and they were so sweet. From now on, we're going to be friends. And the yellows thought, the blues don't know our songs or grow our plants, but maybe we can help the blues, and the blues can help us. And from that time on, the blues and the yellows began to say, maybe we don't have to look alike or even live nearby. Perhaps we like hearing new songs and tasting new foods. We might like making new friends, and maybe we can all help one another. Well, you probably guessed that this is a retelling of the Good Samaritan parable. It's easy to see from the parable that the lesson was to help everyone, even enemies, if they are in need. But it also points out the very human condition of wanting to know why something happened, and often so that we can place blame. Why did that person ride so close to Blue to make them fall? Was it deliberate, or was it an accident? Did Blue do something to deserve this piece of bad luck? Was someone just playing a joke and Blue got harmed? Was Blue just careless and therefore deserved the consequence? Were there unseen forces at play? Or was Blue just in the wrong place at the wrong time? No matter the answers we get, and often we simply just don't know, we are all equal in our humanity and deserve our care and consideration of each other. That is what is important, not the answers. So now I invite any children or youth to join me in the West Wing for a day of community building fun. Thank you.
Our centering in words today are from the Reverend Frederick Buechner, Wishful Thinking. There are mysteries which you can solve by taking thought. For instance, a murder mystery, whose mysteriousness must be dispelled in order for the truth to be known. There are other mysteries which do not conceal a truth, to think your way to but whose truth is itself the mystery. The mystery of yourself, for example. The more you try to fathom it, the more fathomless it is revealed to be. No matter how much of yourself you are able to objectify and examine, the quintessential living part of yourself will always elude you. The part that is conducting the examination. Thus, you do not solve the mystery, you live the mystery. And you do that not by fully knowing yourself, but by fully being yourself. As we go into a time of silence, let us think and contemplate what are the mysteries about ourselves and the universe that we wonder about. So, due to the storm, this is not the original sermon I was planning to do today. I did not have time to finish that. So, you have another sermon that I had already finished that you will get to hear that I think actually fits what is happening today. As a hurricane wobbled this week, I decided to go to my brother's house on the east coast of Florida. And while I was there, thinking I was escaping danger, tornadoes hit about 10 miles north of him. Although he did not lose power, I do want to say that, or internet, so I was able to watch the Mets win their series. Yes, yay, thank you. They start again tonight against the Dodgers. But it did bring back memories for me. My parents had lost their home in Homestead, Florida during Hurricane Andrew. And I remember visiting the ruins afterwards, and literally it was ruins, just like everything was flattened out. But despite the house being destroyed, there were some glass figurines left intact, one of the mysteries of the world. But this, I know, maybe I'm the only person who makes this leap, but this made me think about the book of Job in the Hebrew Scriptures, which asks the question, why do we suffer as human beings? Why do some people get hit by a tornado and not others? Why might the people who take all the precautions lose everything, and others who take no precautions not lose anything? In essence, why do bad things happen to good people? These same questions were asked approximately 2,500 years ago in the Jewish scriptures. And for those who are not familiar with the book of Job, or have forgotten, let me recap it for you quickly. Job is the most pious of men without any fault. He is loyal to God and helps the widow and the orphan and is righteous in every way. In the story, God makes a bet with a divine being called the adversary, who is a member of the divine beings who gather with God. Now, it's a whole nother sermon about why you have, in a monotheistic religion, other divine beings. But if you are interested in learning more about these divine beings, I encourage you to read the book of Enoch, which goes into detail what is only mentioned in passing in the canonical scriptures. The Christian scriptures changed the wording from adversary to Satan. And so that's how Satan got started. God is boasting of Job's piousness, and the adversary wagers with God that if God allows him free rein to cause havoc in Job's life, Job will repudiate God. And God takes the bet, as long as he doesn't physically harm Job. Okay, so the adversary character does all that he can to make Job turn away from God. All of Job's children are killed, his sheep are killed, and his camels were stolen. I really don't understand why the camels are stolen and the sheep and the children are killed. I don't really understand that. His wife abandons him, and still Job will not abandon God. So the adversary presses God on the bet, and God permits it to harm Job as long as it doesn't kill Job. And so Job is stricken with inflammation of the sores from head to toe. I do not think I could make up a religious story like this. Yet there it is in the Bible. I mean, it's mind-boggling that this story is in the canonical scriptures. So in studying this story, I have to ask, what is the purpose of this story being in the Hebrew scriptures? And it is believed that this story was composed after the fall of Jerusalem and the exile of the Israelites in 587 BCE. And I believe this is a story of a people who are trying to reconcile how God could allow such evil to happen to them, even though they were faithful. And throughout the story, there are 3 friends and 1 other who come to visit Job. And for the first 7 days, they said nothing. They just sat with him. They just offered their presence to Job in his suffering. And after 7 days, Job starts to lament. And after his first lament, his friend Eliphaz says, and I quote, "If one ventures a word with you, will it be too much? But who can hold back their words?" End quote. Well, yes, you can hold back your words. I want to say that, right? Sometimes it's okay to say less, okay? I think it's an important aspect of caring for each other. We do not always have to have answers for people, right? Sometimes we just need to be there for them, to help them, comfort them in their time of need. But if that, and sometimes we just need to be there. But if that was all that happened, this would be a very short story and wouldn't have been very interesting. So the story is partially an argument as to why Job is suffering. And it is really great prose, so I do encourage you to read it, even if you don't regularly read the scriptures. His first friend Eliphaz's arguments include, well, all humans are sinful, so therefore Job must have sin. And the friends start imagining and trying to convince Job he has sinned and thus deserved this. Job argues that even if that was true, even if somehow he unknowingly slipped up, there should be balanced justice, not something this extreme. And he chides his friends, saying, a friend owes loyalty to one who fails. And so very much like today's prosperity gospel, the friends argue those who prosper must be good people in God's eyes. And there is argument that since God is all-powerful and omniscient, that what happened to Job implies fairness. His friend Bildad blames Job even for just questioning God. Eliphaz says Job just needs to pray more to God. And his third friend, Zophar, basically tells Job that he talks too much. And he cannot understand the ways of God. And Job replies sarcastically, and I quote, "Indeed, you are the voice of the people, and wisdom will die with you. But I, like you, have a mind. In the thought of the complacent, there is contempt for calamity," end quote. Now that to me was a very powerful line. In the thought of the complacent, there is contempt for calamity. How often do we see people blame victims for their misfortune, not recognizing systemic injustices or random suffering that have been in place for the entirety of this country's and universe's existence? Eliyahu, a younger man listening in, comes in and basically says that God disciplines humans to turn them away from evil. And this, to me, is the worst of the arguments. He is saying we must suffer to learn something. Yes, we suffer. Everybody suffers, right? Yet we adapt and we make meaning from our suffering. But that is different from saying we need to suffer in order to learn. Right? And I reject that outright. We can learn to be compassionate without suffering or allowing suffering to happen. Bildad goes in the other direction and tells Job that, you're not so important in the eyes of God, and that, that Job, you take your suffering way too seriously. And Job replies, and I quote, "Well, if I speak, my pain will not be relieved, and if I do not speak, what have I lost?" So meaning it doesn't hurt to ask for what you need, to not be embarrassed about what you did not know. Job did not understand what was happening, and so he was complaining and asking, why was this happening to me? And that should be okay, to ask about the things you do not know and to ask for the help that you need. So if there is anybody there who is in need due to this storm, you need a place to live, you need food, you need anything, ask, please. We are here as a community to help each other. So my friends, let us not be like Job's friends. If we come across someone who is suffering, let us show a heart of compassion. We do not know what heaviness another person is carrying. A lost job, a bad diagnosis, the fear of uncertainty, their house flooded or damaged. Let us hold each other in our hearts. Let us support each other both emotionally and financially. And with that thought in mind, we will now take our offering. Please be as generous as you can. For those on a cell phone, there is, I think, a link in the YouTube video. Let this sacred time begin.
of silence, when the world has turned away, beneath the weight of sorrow, and I can no longer pray. In the wilderness of worry, in the desert of despair, in the never-ending darkness, when it seems that no one cares, I am not afraid, I am not alone. You hold me in your hands and will not let me go. Though the waters rise and though the winds may blow, I will not be afraid, will not be afraid, for I am not alone.
When there are no words of comfort,
No words of comfort
that can stand the flow of tears. When I'm stranded at the center,
by the rising tide of fear, when there is no path before me, when my feet have lost their way, I remember you are with me, and I am not afraid. I am not afraid, I am not alone. You hold me in your hands and will not let me go. Though the waters rise and though the winds may blow, I will not be afraid, will not be afraid. For I am not alone, I am not alone. I will not be afraid, will not be afraid. For I am not alone.
Somebody earlier today said, today literally I'm almost preaching to the choir today. So take that as an invitation to all the others here to please, you are welcome to join the choir as well. But I am so thankful. That was a perfect song and really just such a wonderful job. Thank you. And Don as well. So I want to start my second reflection with an excerpt from the book of Job, chapters 12 and 13, with Job talking to his friends. And he says, and I quote, "But ask the beasts, and they will teach you, the birds of the sky, they will tell you, or speak to the earth, it will teach you, it will inform, the fish of the sea, they will inform you. My eyes has seen all this, my ear has heard and understood it. What you know, I know also. I am not less than you. I insist on arguing with God. If you would only keep quiet, it would be considered wisdom on your part." I love that line. "I will have my say, come what may. He may well slay me, I may have no hope. Yet I will argue my case. In this too is my salvation." End quote. So throughout the story, Job has argued that he wants an audience, even demanding an audience with God. He even states that he knows God will not answer his questions, but he still wants to ask God the question. I believe, like many people who cannot explain their circumstances, Job really just wants to be assured that there is some guiding force for justice in the world. How many of us have felt that way at some time in our life, when through no fault of our own we find ourselves in desperate situations? Or after we hear of tragedies that happen. How often did I hear in my lifetime in my family the question of, if there is a God, how could God have allowed the Holocaust to have occurred? Many Jewish people became atheists after World War II for that reason. And we see every day in our lives and on television ongoing inhumanity against inhumanity and against the earth as well. We see leaders currently talking about valuing profits of corporations over human life. And we wonder today, where is God? In chapter 9, Job goes on to state, and I quote, "God is not a man like me that I might answer God, that we can go on trial together. No arbiter is between us," end quote. And I think this is a telling line. There is no arbiter between us. I think this brings to bear the same philosophical question we still ask today. How do we gain knowledge and wisdom? Right? How, and specifically, how do we gain knowledge and wisdom about the mysteries of life? Do we gain knowledge from direct experience, or through ritual and dogma and learning and reading? Much of the argument brought by Job's visitors dwell on the wisdom of the elders, and that he should listen and learn from the wisdom of the elders. And I believe the message of Job is that we must experience life, and we must gain an understanding of the universe for ourselves, that we cannot learn the mysteries of life through ritual and dogma. It may give us some comfort, but we're not necessarily going to learn from it. We must come to know ourselves, and through the examination of the world around us, we must learn that maybe there are natural laws about what is morally and ethically right and wrong. And just because there is a human law that says otherwise, or just because someone in power tells us otherwise, if we know deep in our heart and souls that something is right, we need to stand for it and have faith in our beliefs. Now, most of the book of Job's faith in what he knows is true leads him to rage against his visitors and rage against God for an explanation of the injustice done to him. And at the end of the book, God actually shows up. Yet God doesn't respond to Job's questions regarding injustice. To make a long story short, and he goes on for a while in this, but to make it short, God verbally tries to browbeat Job, and I paraphrase here, but telling Job that Job has no right to question God because God is all-powerful and created the universe as it is known. Yet we know that in the story, God did this in a prideful bet with the adversary. In chapter 40, God also states to Job, and I love this line too, "Gird your loins. Will you question my justice? Then scatter wide your raging anger. See every proud man and bring him low, and bring down the wicked where they stand. Then even I would acknowledge you." So I see these statements in the Bible as saying that we need to stop complaining and asking for a higher authority to help solve our problems, that we need humans, that we as humans need to take responsibility for the human condition. In chapter 42, in Job's last statement to God, Job says, I have heard you with my ears, and now I see you with my eyes. I repudiate and change my mind about dust and ashes, end quote. So first, by emphasizing, now I see you with my eyes, Job is again reiterating direct experiential learning regarding the mysteries of the universe. And in changing his mind about dust and ashes, he is repudiating the meaninglessness of humanity. The message is in Job is that humanity is what is meaningful. Humanity is what will make a difference in the world. So how can we fight injustice in this world? Well, in the end, the story gives a message for that as well. In the last chapter of the book, Job's fortunes were restored by the members of the community, sharing their food and money with Job. And this story is a positive commentary on the benefits of communitarianism, right? I think in general, the mainstay of society is only willing to challenge power when they see the injustice befalling people similar to them, right? If there is injustice against the marginalized in society, the majority of society turns away. People only pay attention to injustice when they feel it is possible that it could happen to them. One of the messages of Job is that society has to realize that injustice by those in power needs to be recognized no matter who is affected. Justice can be restored by the community joining together. The community had a choice to help Job at the beginning, but abandoned him out of fear. And in the end, they joined him and helped him. The book of Job shows how human suffering, or the awareness of suffering and injustice, can lead to social transformation. I think it is also a story of transformation about how society understood God. God was no longer an all-powerful, omniscient, monarchical, patriarchal being who rewards the good and punishes the wicked. Reality taught humanity otherwise. Actually, another part in the story, Job gets remarried, has more children, and leaves actually his estate to his daughters, something that was never done in those days in the patriarchal society. And that was put in there for a very specific meaning, to show that things were changing. So humanity started looking upon the universe now with a more non-dualistic, non-binary perspective, not just good and evil. Right? As a species, as we become more self-aware, our consciousness understands new ways to guide us. Over time, we obtain new insights as we become ready for them. And our concept of what God is or isn't has evolved and is adapting as we evolve as a species. I believe that humans and our universe are an ongoing evolutionary creation. The Bible does tell a truth that not all creations are perfect, and even creators are imperfect, right? So old methods of learning will no longer do. Right? This struggle and growth continues every day, and humans continue to evolve. And I believe our faith is a perfect vehicle to achieve such human transformation, as our values, our principles, our mission affirm the encouragement of spiritual growth with the underpinning of a theology that revelation is ongoing. As new understandings become available, it will spark humanity to new levels of consciousness. So let that consciousness work towards eliminating evil within ourselves and within the world that we live in. May it lead us to be more compassionate and more just. Let us all come together to help each other and to help everyone in their time of need. May it be so. Please rise in body and spirit, for our closing hymn, 1021, Lean on Me. And somebody made the mistake of putting the cymbal back in the pulpit. Okay.
Sometime in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if there are things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. There is a load you have to bear that you can't carry. I'm right up the road, I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just like common brother, when you need a hand, we all need somebody to lean on. Just like have a problem that you understand, we all need somebody to lean on.
Closing words from Mahatma Gandhi: nothing is or exists in reality except truth. And that is why truth is perhaps the most important name of God. In fact, it is more correct to say that truth is God than God is truth. Devotion to this truth is the sole justification for our existence. All of our activity should be centered in truth. Truth should be the very breath of our life. When once this state in the Pilgrim's Progress is reached, all other rules of correct living will come without effort, and obedience to them will be instinctive. Please join me now in extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, that not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of existence. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for your presence here today. Go forth, be compassionate, and be kind and good, and have fun.